Good morning, and thank you for all of you participating in this experience, explaining about our journey over the last year and a half. I'm a part of a program called the Masters of Ministry with Warner University. My professor is Dr. Joseph Cookston, and over the last year and a half, I, along with a group of people called the LMT, which is the Lay Ministry Team, they are comprised of 4 individuals, in which all of them are here today. Chastity, Curtis, if you'll raise your hand, Sister Markeisha, and Sister Jotisha. We went through a formalized process to get our church into a place to understand what is something that is a necessity and a need to move us to the next place in our relationship with God, as well as being a part of a church. And so this program has been comprised over 3 semesters, starting with the summer of 2017, the fall of 2017, and now the spring semester of 2017. And the purpose of us getting together and even coming up with this project called the Capstone Project was to identify the felt needs of our church, to identify those things that perhaps need to be changed, those things that were not addressed, as well as those things that needed to be addressed. And so the purpose of the Capstone Project was to unite Connections Community Church internally through fellowship and discipleship, as well as to unite Connections externally with the city of Lake Wales. As I said to you earlier, our team members were Jotisha, Curtis, Markeisha, and Chastity. A basic synopsis of who we are as a church. The Connections Community Church is an energetic and a community-focused church with a holiness and Pentecostal persuasion style of worship. Connections Community Church is a freestanding independent congregation. Connections Community Church held its first public worship experience on Tuesday, December the 6th, 2011 at 7 o'clock p.m. with 16 people in attendance. 6 years later, the membership is nearly 150 people, including children. Connections Community Church is also known as the Triple C Church. Triple C Church is located in the inner city of Lake Wales, Florida. Lake Wales, Florida is geographically located in Central Florida in the southwest jurisdiction of Polk County. Now, Lake Wales has approximately 16,000 residents. Lake Wales is known to be a very traditional and conservative city with staunch holistic family beliefs. Since the town is small, almost all adults know or know of one another. Now, there's a statement in which, or a phase, a 5 process phase that we went through called design thinking. There were 5 levels to that in which we got our purpose from out of the Capstone Project. The first phase is empathizing. During our process of analyzing what were the best methods to achieve a pure sense of the opportunities and concerns for Connections Community Church, we relied upon the book entitled Studying Congregations by Nancy T. Amerman. The 2 research methods used were direct observation and interviewing. These methods help us to identify and study the story of our congregation and the context of our community. Each person interviewed and observed added an additional page and chapter to the current story of our church. The story of the church pre-Capstone reflected a spiritual body that was stagnant and had moved from its original mission of love. So when our team members started to doing direct observation and studying and interviewing with different people in the church, they discovered that there was a stagnation in the life of our church. And then we begin to contextualize what is something that we need to do to move that internal phase of our church of stagnation to being to a place of understanding our original mission. So that was a part of the empathizing. Then there was a define and frame. The data analysis, confirmed that there were 2 multiple concerns throughout the church. These concerns were repetitive in nature. The number of concerns were overwhelming and disappointing. Based on our research at that time last year, the analysis led us to believe that the focus of the Capstone Project is to unite our church to overcome internal grievances, pastoral hurts, and community confusion by strengthening internal measures and accountability and assimilation. Then the 3rd phase of that design thinking was brainstorming and ideas. Through a mental and spiritual reflective state of silence and prayer, we best discover that our goal must be to unite our church in love and renew our image of commitment to the community. It had become evident due to leadership grievances and personal decisions made by the senior pastor that many people left our church, stayed at the church with a spiritual grudge, or had become lethargic with this particular vision of the church. And the fourth level of this, of design thinking, was prototype. Through the extended periods of brainstorming, we looked at the climate of the church and the community and analyzed how could we make our best brainstorming ideas a reality. One of the greatest attributes of the city of Lake Wales is the internal fabric of community. Community is seen in a variety of ways, most notably through family dynamics. If we were to create moments of community collaboration and fun, it would become a winning solution for our church. Our community presence has been to unite families together, and this event will attempt to unite the city for the cause of oneness and solidarity. And this is how we came up with the idea called the community reunion. And that was our premise, to make sure that as a church, not only do we always have community events, but we will bring other churches along with us to be synergized, to make it a one collective voice for the entire city, especially the inner city of Lake Wales, Florida. Now, in uniting the local inner city, this was our premise. A community event was planned to provide a community fun and intentional place of connectivity. The local inner city of Lake Wales was starving for organized unity, not just as a Christian ethical unity, but just a sense of collective unity and harmony. Activities that are planned or were planned on a large scale that involve family games, food, and music are always a drawing card, in which we did. Since the town is small, people are always eager to have a gathering that elicits fun and fellowship. This was the drawing card that we used to rely on. The goal was to bring together everyone through a strategically planned event that will empower the community, promote fun, and create a thirst for continuation. The community reunion would seek to bridge a divide in the city through an organized method. And the Lake Wales Community Reunion was very successful. And what we did, we brought together different people, different vendors. We did not charge them anything. We had food, we had entertainment for children and families, to make sure that this was a day that was very much structured to where the community will be a part of what Connections was doing. But not only that, it was our premise to bring churches together. That was our premise, to bring churches together, for that is the mission of our church. One of the sad things that we brought about with this, and I don't know if you remember, Markeisha, when we were sitting in the back, you said something that it was really sad that other churches did not participate the way that they were supposed to. Do you remember that? That was very sad. But it was a stark reality for us to understand that a lot of churches and a lot of people, unless their name is at the front of it, they don't want to be a part of it. But we understand through our community involvement, what we do is not for us to have name recognition. It's not for people to come to our church. Amen? Amen. It's not for people just to say they're a part of Connections Church, but that is the ministry. That is the vision of this church, to be a part of this. So we believe that even as we put together the community reunion, it was more or less something that we've always done. We're always involved in the community. We're always doing something to develop the community as well as our church. A part of this process, once we also discovered during our time of direct interviews and observation, as what the team members did, we discovered that there were 3 goals that will come out of this project. Not only the community reunion, but number 1, we had to unite our local congregation. We had to create moments of opportunity, of fellowship that was beyond just Sunday morning service. And that's why for a period we did coffee, we did donuts. Sister Charlene Kirkland brought the coffee and the donuts, and they were out in the back by where the children meet. And we did that every Sunday. We wanted to make sure that there was a time for fellowship. If you notice, even now, our time for fellowship is much longer during service than what it used to be. That we make sure that we greet at least 5 to 7 people. I try to come and greet as many people as I can based on the time, just to make sure that there is intentional times for fellowship. Even on Tuesdays, I try not to leave until everybody is gone, unless it's a part of the ministry team, that if anyone wants to speak to me on a Tuesday night, I come earlier before service and even after service to make sure that there is intentional moments of fellowship that people can reach with pastor, as well as our ministry leaders are connected. So that was goal number 1, uniting our local congregation. And then goal number 2 was uniting with local churches. We understand that's been a tough task, not only for this event, but for other events as well, to get other churches involved. We sent out letters. I had Minister Norwood to send letters to all of our inner city churches, and there was only one church that responded to that. One pastor said, well, I have to get with my deacons to see if we can participate. Well, if you have to get with other people to see if you can participate with us doing something on a kingdom mindset and collaboratively as a church, then that's probably not what we want to do. So that was the second thing, uniting with local churches. And then the third thing was uniting the local inner city community. And so that was a blessing. If many of you remember, this was the flyer that was distributed around Facebook, the community reunion, and the things that we will offer. And the biggest thing about that, our learning came from this understanding that even if other churches are not participating with what it is we have to do, we're still called as a ministry to do community service, community justice, because this is the assignment that is on our life. And another thing that we decided to do based on this project is that the community reunion will be something that is done every year. That we would do something on a larger scale, bigger than Fifth Sunday Fire, bigger than the other things that we do, to collaborate with other churches, Brother Curtis, other organizations, to do one big event for the city of Lake Wales. And the only reason why we came here is because there were other issues that were still down at both parks and the James B. Austin Center, that there was damage because of the hurricane. But next year we want to go to Frazier Field. We want to go to some type of larger community that we can do this on a bigger fashion. That there are business vendors there. There are different food vendors that are there. There's food. There's so many different games for family. We want to make sure that there is something that is done that we can say, just like Martin Luther King Day, I'm looking forward to the community reunion. And Connections does not have to get the credit, because we also said we wanted other churches to be able to host it and plan it every year. And so those are some of the things that we discovered in the year and a half that we were working together. Some of the internal grievances that we had, that we did our study in the first semester, and that's how we came to these findings of what we needed to do, that there had to be more fellowship in our local church, there had to be more uniting in the community. Those things that we discovered, Brother Floyd, in the first semester, we put those into practice last semester, which was the fall semester. And the culminating event of that was the community reunion. And now it is our time to tell the story. And this is why I'm meeting with you today, our leaders, to tell the story of what we've done over the last year and a half. And I believe that God is pleased. I believe that God is pleased. It took a while. We didn't always get this going, because I should have finished this program a year ago. Because I was sick, it pushed me back a year. But I'm grateful that all four of these persons were on the original LMT, and they agreed to do it again for this current semester as well. So would you clap your hands and thank God for Markeisha, Jotisha, who is our captain, Curtis, as well as Chancellor. And that was our capstone project. Thank you for your time as well as your attention. Also, as we conclude right here on my computer, because we don't have the capabilities of showing the PowerPoint presentation to all, I just want you guys to be able to see some of the things that we did and the pictures that we brought about for the community reunion. You'll see some of our vendors, so after we finish this, you'll be able to come and look at some of the pictures that we have. So once again, thank you for your time as well as your attention. Thank you.